Critica Center.
Ah! Oh God! Ow! 2008 was a fantastic year for video games. I am aware 2007 is widely called the golden age of video games, but I believe 2008 is in a close second. GTA 4, Persona 4, Metal Gear Solid 4, Call of Duty Zombies, plus World at War, Super Smash Bros., Little Big Planet, and today's subject, Mirror's Edge. Developed by DICE, Mirror's Edge was unlike any first-person shooter. It was a parkour simulator. There were guns in the game, but the real gameplay was running around and jumping across buildings. It was a decent title, with colorful art design that still stands the test of time, and a memorable protagonist. Faith is hailed as one of the best female characters of all time. Some infamous online feminists going so far as to declare her the ideal female video game character. And yeah, that's about right. At a time when female characters looked like this, Faith was ahead of her time for video games. It also helped that she had good character design and was part of an enjoyable game, but details. Mirror's Edge was an instant classic, spawning a fan base overnight who of course begged for a sequel. On E3 2014, after a long wait, we got our first look at Mirror's Edge Catalyst, the long-awaited sequel fans have been waiting for. Wait, it's not a sequel, but a reimagining? Alright, that's not a problem. But what was a problem? It came out to no reception. Yeah, I remember the week of Catalyst's release and hardly anyone talked about it. Maybe it had something to do with its weak marketing, but critics were mixed and audiences were negative to quiet. Too quiet. To this day, attention for Catalyst is still largely dormant. Heck, the first Mirror's Edge game continues to have far more retrospectives than the second one. But why? Well, after 10 years, it's time for me to change that and get my hands on Catalyst and see if the neglect is deserving or not. Let's strap on some Nerf sneakers and big hoods, wait, wrong franchise, hop on a trampoline that children should really not play on, I didn't mean to jump, Tyler, and leap into Mirror's Edge Catalyst. After I sell my gamer soul to the devil. Alright, now I can finally play and... What's this? Multiplayer has been discontinued because the servers are down? I wasn't going to touch multiplayer, but judging from all these pop-ups, the online mode must have been a big deal when it came out. A mixed blessing? I don't know. Whether or not multiplayer was a worthwhile experience and how involved it was in multiplayer, I'll never know. Write your experiences playing multiplayer down below in the comments. Now, let's get this show on the... Oh man, that hurt. Welcome to Glass, a geographically unspecified megacity run by everyone's favorite dystopian government, megacorporations. The conglomerate provides drones, smartphones, contact lenses riddled with YouTube-style ads, and an oppressive police state, with the top dogs being Kruger sect, led by Gabriel Kruger. And the only ones who stand up against them are parkour Shinedown fans, better known as the Runners. The best of them all being everyone's favorite female MC, Faith, who is on her day out of jail. Off to a butthurt start. How did Faith get in prison? Well, that question can only be answered in the form of a comic book. Seriously, I don't like it when video games do this. Who in their right mind would want to spend more money on a 12 to 30 page prequel? You mean I have to read pictures to get the full story? As we leave the Half-Life 2 style slammer, Faith gets pulled aside by a young runner named Icarus, the hotshot rookie nobody enjoys being around, and we immediately get in trouble with the law again. Okay, it's been over a decade, more like 3 years, since I played the first Mirror's Edge, but if the gameplay functions just like the original, what can go wrong? I spoke too soon!
Follow the red, and I'll meet you at the tower. Let's go.
Whoa, where did he go? Is he dead? To reiterate, Mirror's Edge is not an ordinary first-person shooter. Hell, in Catalyst, you can't even shoot guns, which is a welcome change considering the first game's gun mechanics were clunky. You're not a shooter, you're a runner who knows parkour. You simply run. It's super easy, just get off your chair. Then you master the run and you jump over obstacles, run on walls, and land flat on giant construction mats that are conveniently scattered throughout the map. I don't know you could survive a fall like that, even with pillows. Continuing to run fast is such an addictive feeling. In the first Mirror's Edge, the world was linear, with jumping puzzles that killed momentum. Thankfully, in Catalyst, it greatly reduces the trial and error and gives you a lot of space to work around. It helps that there's an easy mode, i.e. the runner vision, which makes it a lot easier. A little too easy. I mean, it's cool visual, but I feel undignified relying on it. Another great improvement is the combat. It's more defined, and the enemies you've faced are categorized. From weak security guards with sticks, to stronger guards with electric guns who can resist punches, and the enemies get tougher as the game progresses. All you have to do to beat them is to punch or kick them. You can use the environment to help boost your attacks, and even use the enemies themselves. You can kick guards into each other, and you can kick the enemies to fall into their insert YouTube-friendly term here. The combat's so dynamic and makes you improvise a strategy on the spot, giving you the sense of having full control over Faith. Or rather, you are Faith. A little esoteric to say out loud. Superb gameplay is what I'm saying. Fighting Kruger's sect is tons of fun. When you deliver that final kick or finishing move, the impact is so satisfying. The Kruger guards can get pretty funny over how easily they get knocked out. One kick to the edge and it looks like they're trying to fall over. One problem that can happen though is when the cinematic takedowns never register, which can lead to first-person nausea. So we escape Kruger's sect and we get the title, Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Yay! We head to our hideout and meet Noah, Fate's boss, surrogate father figure, and potential lover. I don't know, their relationship's a little weird. The runner group is called the Cabal and pay lip service to a shady crime lord called Dugan. Dugan. Afterwards, Faith gets her famous modest clothing and the game finally opens up. I am 30 minutes in and the first impressions are solid. When I first played Mirror's Edge, I remember thinking to myself, okay, what this sequel needs is some sort of open world with time challenges, side missions, and collectibles to occupy us, plus new and improved combat. And in Mirror's Edge Catalyst, there's an open world, significantly better combat, side missions, time runs, and collectibles. This is everything I wanted out of a Mirror's Edge sequel. But there's more. Catalyst also has a leveling up system. Once you get enough XP, you can level up Fate's fighting abilities, running, and gear. This is so good! How come nobody liked this when it first came out? Yes, I know. I'm only an hour in, my opinion can still change. How about the characters? Well, there's the aforementioned Noah and Icarus. I like Icarus. He's an a-hole, but the charming, naive kind of a-hole who will either redeem himself or go to Tumblr. Noah is Noah. There are also supporting characters like Nomad, who introduces the side quests, and Birdman. Guess why he's called that. Nothing to write home about. I mean, they are unimportant side characters, but they act like the kind of people you eat out with at a Wendy's and die of artery failure. They're all charming, but have eccentric moments. After settling down and getting a proper warm-up, Noah has a task for both Icarus and Faith to infiltrate a facility belonging to the Elysium Company, with a lowercase e for some reason. Another factor I like about Catalyst is how the game looks. It looks gorgeous. The exaggerated bright colors attached to the sterile corporate architecture is such a brilliant dichotomy of visual storytelling. Everyone raves about the first Mirror's Edge's visuals, and I believe Catalyst perfectly recaptures them. It's just an overall beautiful game to look at. Character models are a mixed bag though. While running down the halls and climbing walls like a 7-year-old having a sugar rush in a shopping mall, we discover Gabriel Kruger himself is paying Elysium a visit for a secret project. What is this secret project? Only one way to find out. Okay, I'm in the lobby. What do I do now? Can I open the doors? No? Damn. Is there a stairs? How about the pipes? Crap, where do I go? Am I supposed to go through the windows? Nope, can't do that. Where do I go? I don't want to activate the runner vision in this area. Should I go back? Where am I supposed to go? Oh. Now I understand the runner vision. As we go deeper into the building, Faith finds someone else is infiltrating the data center. We follow the masked intruder, who gets reprimanded by Kruger himself and his assistant, Discount Lady Deathstrike, and the masked man takes cyanide. You could have just thrown pocket sand, buddy. We steal the mysterious device and make our grand escape. One of many grand escapes Faith will do.
The whole city's on alert. The grid is on fire. Whatever you did really stirred the nest, Faith.
What kind of superhuman stamina does this woman have? She can run forever like Ezio from Assassin's Creed. I don't think even people who worship cardio can run that long. Come to think of it, does Faith ever eat food or drink? Is Mirror's Edge making me hungry? One of these games like this needs an eating and drinking mechanic. Call it the fetish and regret mechanic. We hand over the data to Noah and the gang, but they have no idea what it is. So Noah suggests handing it over to a hacker named Plastic, a malnourished teenage girl with a cute voice and a robot sidekick who's capable of hacking high-tech government facilities, despite being a self-taught dropout. Plastic sounds a lot like someone from one of my favorite video games. Plastic's missions are all about infiltrating Kruger grids, which are designed primarily around jumping puzzles. Once you complete one, you unlock fast travel. As much as you love running around the city, it is very needed to get around with not having to go through the same areas over and over again. Catalyst's open world, as beautiful as it looks, and a completionist's delight, does end up suffering from one of the most common issues with open worlds, and that it doesn't offer much beside challenges, which are ultimately an acquired taste for most people. It loses the magic a bit. Like a racer losing its balance mid-race. No! Do not use footage from that horse game! Meeting plastic is also where the grappling hook is gifted to Faith. That's right, a grappling hook. And it's as fun as it sounds, giving us access to new areas and giving you more ways to have a quick heart attack.
Check! I'm looking down! Ah!
Plastic deciphers the device, which is actually blueprints to Kruger's latest project called Reflection. We don't entirely know what it is yet, but Gabby and rival Megacorps really want it back. Faith's decision to nab it causes the runner leaders to be divided on what to do with it. However, Faith decides to plan on using the blueprint to repay her debt to Dugan. Dugan.
And you have it with you.
Not right now, but...
Then we will discuss your debt when you do. Anansi have been remiss with their payments.
I hate the way he said that. This is so weird. Not the level, but Dugan. In the cutscene, he's this brash, rude, domineering gangster, but in the telecom, he's this flirtatious, sarcastic jerk. He's Icarus Light. A little bit of a disjointed character, I would say.
As intended. It'll be some time before Nazi recovers from that.
Stop saying Nazis! In the middle of all of this, Icarus gets stuck behind an electric door. Don't you just love these kinds of levels? Just follow the electric pipes that produce electric charges that are visible to the naked eye. I don't think cables work like that. Immediately after breaking Icarus free, Faith gets a distress call that KrugerSec is attacking the base. Against Noah's wishes, Faith and Icarus dash their way back and find everyone has fled, one nameless guy dead, rest in peace unimportant NPC, and Noah's dead body being taken away by Kruger's assistant. This part of the game is just waves of enemies, but don't get cocky. This can be challenging, and is where the toughest, most annoying enemies show up. They're just as fast as you are, and they don't take light attacks, and when they hit you, you get knocked down all the time. You mustn't get kicked against the wall, or else they spam attack you, and you will die a lot. With Noah seemingly dead, and with nowhere else to go, Faith and Icarus reluctantly seek the help of a group of runners turned terrorists, Black November, led by Rebecca Thane, played by Deborah Wilson. Boy, she's everywhere.
Report it in. Go after the other one.
Really? That one dream again? This is like the third time we've seen this dream. Are we gonna have a realistic emotional breakdown later? Or does Catalyst have unsubtle foreshadowing? But speaking of which, I believe it's finally time we discuss Faith. Faith Connors is highly regarded as one of the greatest female characters in video game history, but her personality was milquetoast. Don't get me wrong, she had subtle characterization, but she was more or less a silent protagonist made for the player to project themselves in the world of Mirror's Edge, which was arguably the real star of the game. In Catalyst, the writers attempt to give her more of a vocal, emotional character. The result turned out to be, well, mundane. Her quirks are all over the place. She acts stoic yet also rebellious. She shows a playful side, awkwardness, and vulnerability. All these traits don't mesh together. The most damning is her lack of change and lack of motivation in the entire story. All of it makes Faith come across as, well, kinda bland. And none of that is made more apparent than her sidekick, Icarus, who has more of a fleshed out personality and growth, starting out as this cocky know-it-all with zero respect, who ends up as this reliable friend. Yes, Faith isn't just overshadowed by the men, she's overshadowed by everyone of all genders. And I haven't even gotten to the meat of the story yet. Well, before we do that, let's take a break and binge watch some Super Sentai, or Japanese Power Rangers for all of you gaijins out there.
Arthur, King of the Britons.
Never mind, back to Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Now living in the Ninja Turtles hideout, Deborah Wilson, aka Rebecca Thane, uses Faith and Icarus as her guinea pigs against some drones. Afterwards, Thane plots to kidnap Kruger's assistant, who happens to be his daughter, Isabel, and needs Faith and Icarus to create an escape route by, once again, stopping drones in a construction site. I'm noticing a pattern. Yes, this game is surprisingly accurate about our current societal fears of techno-feudalism, drones replacing men, and being bossed around by Deborah Wilson all day. You know, if you die while someone's monologuing, you'll miss some dialogue, so better pay attention to Deborah Wilson's monologue about free will versus collectivism while having a heart attack jumping off buildings. You might learn something. While we're at our wits' end with Faith, I will give the writing team credit for giving her and Icarus some decent chemistry together. They sound like co-workers turned friends, not liking each other at first, but slowly growing to respect and care for one another. The initial Sanai comments replaced with friendly teasing. Now, can you ship them? I don't think so. I'm about as pessimistic about these two hooking up as my hopes of my captors giving me a VTuber slave. Isabel gets caught and Rebecca plans to use her as a bargaining chip. She also happens to look exactly like Faith, but I'm sure there's no connection. Nomad comes back, and is never mentioned again, nor Birdman, and gives Faith a mission to liberate the old hideout from KrugerSec, which means another enemy wave mission! As you can tell, the side missions can get really repetitive. Gah! Alright, that's it! One of the biggest, if not the biggest problem with Mirror's Edge Catalyst are the flashing screens. Every time you start a mission, every time you die, every time you boot up the game, every time a cutscene begins and ends, the screen flashes a bright light. Every single time! It's so unnecessary, and it literally hurt my eyes while playing. Maybe it serves as a visual metaphor for Kruger 6's control over society. Or someone at DICE Studios were on something. Either way, I hope I don't go blind. Dugan tells Faith Noah is still alive, which isn't shocking because we saw Isabel fly up with a body during the raid. And according to Isabel, in order to locate Noah, Faith has to go to Kruger 6's main data center. I now suddenly have the urge to play The Sims. Well, Faith decides to go and get Plastic to help. How embarrassing is it to get infiltrated and your data hijacked by a hyperactive teenager? I think that publicity alone would topple Kruger Sec from the conglomerate and free the people. You know what else would be funny? If Faith suddenly slipped and twisted her ankle. Can we get a realistic mod of Catalyst? No, I'm not insinuating you get hurt if you ever run, I just want to see an injury feature. Actually, that'll just make the game more annoying than it is. Plastic discovers Noah is being held in Kingdom, which is located underground. What, you mean that giant conspicuous location sitting underneath Black November's hideout? Who would have guessed? Speaking of which, Isabel Kruger is Faith's sister. I know, right? It's so strange, but they just casually admit this like it isn't a big deal, even though it's supposed to be.
Isn't your name Connors too? What if?
It is. I have to talk to her.
Well, it really wasn't a plot twist. You knew Isabella was Faith's sister because they look so much alike, and the game was flashing us with those flashbacks. I feel like the writers were building this up as a major twist, but then they realized the player would figure this out, so they just reveal it like it wasn't a big deal. By the way, how did Faith figure it all out? When they first met, did Faith have one good look at her and was like, yep, that's my sister? If that's not it, then how did she know Isabel was alive and adopted by Kruger? This whole plot thread is so weak and yet convoluted at the same time. Kinda like sibling relationships in today's world. So while inside the Kingdom, which is a really cool underground base I will add, we find all the people who were laid off by generative AI, and learn the truth about reflection. It's nanomachines. Nanomachines that will control the public opinion as well as control your very own emotions.
It'll be the end of free thought as we know it.
If controlling people's emotions is all that Kruger wants, then he should have spared the time and money and just invest in VTubers taking over. We discover Noah being experimented on, and he dies. What was the point of rescuing him after thinking he was dead when he was just gonna die anyway? Speaking of incompetence, Black November loses Isabel and split off with Faith. At least Faith and her friends have more self-awareness when it comes to dealing with terrorists, unlike some people. Luckily, thanks to a prisoner named Aline, Plastic figures out a way to deactivate reflection. All she needs is for Faith to access Gabriel Kruger's own computer and get inside the shard. But first, Faith needs a pep talk from Dugan. Yes, because when I'm feeling down at the dumps after losing your father figure, / potential lover, I would seek out a snake-in-the-grass crime boss for that.
I once knew a young woman who would defy anyone and anything, even me, in order to do what she felt was right. But you're clearly not her. You're broken. Take the drawing and go.
Wait, that's it? All that shade and criminal threats and he just gives Faith a pat on the shoulder? Maybe the writers are trying to showcase that he's not as bad as he makes himself out. But that just begs more questions that will never get answered. With the power of a malnourished computer hacker, Faith breaks into Kruger's overly sized fancy apartment and fights off more guards. Missions like this are my personal favorite. Doing martial arts moves on guards and running away is so much fun. It's like I'm in the Matrix. Come to think of it, martial arts and cyberpunk are as great together as cheese on a hamburger. Man, I'm getting hungry.
My mom defied you, and you killed her.
Your mother was a brilliant scientist who refused to change with the times.
What is it with these dystopias having the main villain conveniently having parental ties with the protagonist? Just then, a bomb goes off inside the shard, likely caused by Black November. And that's the last we ever hear or see anything about Rebecca or Black November again. What was the point of them?
Tensile property testing initiated.
Alright, time to hop on board a train and stop reflection from happening. All I have to do is... Ow. Now we're at the Shard, a Dubai-style skyscraper with a giant wind turbine attached to it, and a skating ring for some reason. This final level is really cool. Scaling your way to the top is breathtaking. There's multiple instances where you're standing on glass that's breaking underneath you, and you have to run your way across before it shatters. But there's annoying parts too, like the section where you're climbing up the elevator shaft and you must dodge falling debris. If you get hit, you die, so you need to look up while climbing, which ends up distracting you and make you miss your jump and fall to your doom. My favorite has got to be where you use your grappling hook on the turbine arms and launch yourself to the rooftop. Probably late to say this, but this is not a game to play if you're the kind of person who's afraid of heights.
Oh.
Quick, hit the free bird! Okay, we made it to the control room. Gabriel is here. What, as a boss fight? No, he sends out not one, but two of these guys. But that's no problem, cause I know how to beat them. Just keep spamming the jump kick. After that, we learn the truth about reflection.
Setting her free.
Hardly. Isabel has a chronic lung condition. With reflection, we've managed to keep it at bay. Destroy it!
You're lying.
Am I?
So this whole project, this Orwellian wet dream, was to cure your adopted daughter's lung condition at the expense of everyone's free will. What? The kill switch works and reflection is terminated. Despite having a chronic lung condition back, Isabel is well enough to have a big chase with Faith across the skyscraper, where I died a lot.
Stop it! I hate you!
Again, despite having a lung condition, she's well enough to have an awesome fight scene with Faith. Wish it was a boss fight, it's not.
Stop it, cat! My name is Isabel!
I'm supposed to feel bad for these characters, but what do I know about Isabella? Heck, I don't even know much about Gabriel Kruger other than he's evil. If the game spent more time with Gabriel and Isabel, and perhaps more scenes involving Faith, then the whole sequence would have meant something, instead of feeling forced and flat.
Don't understand. I have to.
And that's it. The ending is just an unsatisfying montage of footage from the reveal trailer. We don't know what happened to Black November, or if Isabel's gonna die. Everything's just an afterthought.
We'd started something. Something we intend to finish.
What the heck does that mean? Other than that, I really liked Mirror's Edge Catalyst. While Catalyst was an eye-popping game that fixed a lot of the complaints and shortcomings of the first game, it also had an underwhelming story. On its own, it's just a generic cyberpunk with a mediocre protagonist, an uninteresting antagonist, and an unsatisfying conclusion. I can see why people who are waiting for years for a sequel would dislike it a lot, but what it got right, like the fighting and open world, was perfect. The graphics still hold up, and the gameplay was still the same fast-paced parkour, but better. Too bad the multiplayer's gone. It's not the perfect Mirror's Edge sequel we were hoping for, and I wish it was a direct continuation instead of a reimagining, but Catalyst on its own is really enjoyable. So I say give it a second chance. Don't forget to play it with sunglasses on, or download a mod that gets rid of the blinding light before you go blind like I did. Thank you so much for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Wah! Ow.